Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a recap of what went down at the Calling São Paulo as well as the Battle Hardened, and then also talk about the Battle Hardened Eindhoven and kind of give you just the meta breakdowns, because we had a plethora of heroes win this weekend as well as just a kind of diverse meta, to be honest, which is what we've been seeing lately anyway, and just kind of talk about it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below as well as the creator worksheet for access to other creators who cover the game, and hopefully you can find some good stuff there. But we'll get right into it. So this is the Calling São Paulo meta breakdown. Nothing too crazy here, right? Like, we see all the usual suspects. Aurora being the most played deck makes complete sense. She is now far in gone, like, the at least perceived best deck in the format, right? Zen is also doing very well, even though Zen can't quite get over the top, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Zen's still a very solid deck. People still believe in Syndra regardless of her kind of fall from grace since that initial event. I think last Calling, we didn't even see her any Syndras make day 2, right? We had 28 Syndras last event, and none of them made day 2, which is kind of nutty. 19 new, kept going down. Dash.io is starting to raise in popularity a little bit. People are realizing that hero can actually do some pretty good work in this meta. Dorinthia is also going up there and been set. So other than that, nothing too crazy, pretty standard. As we went into day 1, this was the standings at the end of day 1. We had Michael Hamilton and Alex both undefeated in their respective heroes. Michael Hamilton was 7-0, Alex 7-0 on Aurora. They ended up facing off at the first game of day 2, where Michael ended up taking it. Then we had Enigma, a Jarl, Aurora, Dio, and 2 more Enigmas rounding out the top 8, right, of day 1. Some other notables, we had a Riptide in 12th. I think the Riptide was 6-1. Saw them on stream, played really well against Vincent. We have an Ira in the top 24, which is really cool to see, and even a Florian. So a decent amount of heroes. Obviously, a lot of Aurora there. I mean, we see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Aurora in the top 24, which is a lot. So that's how day 1 went. And then this is the conversion rate for the Calling in day 1. So Aurora had a very good conversion rate, 41%. I mean, that's as good as when you're the best tech in the format, perceived, and people are teching for you or trying to. That's pretty good, right? To still have that kind of conversion rate. Florian also did pretty well. New a little low, but not too bad, honestly. Enigma, very good conversion rate. The best conversion rate when you take into account like how many versus how many made it, because like some people, for example, Acilio, the one Acilio made day 2 like 100%, like that, no joke, it's gonna be that high. But we actually had 66% of Victors make day 2, which I think is really good. Victor's a pretty solid pick in this meta. You gotta kind of avoid the news, right? you gotta try to dodge the news, but if you can, I think you actually have a pretty good spot, because Enigma is winnable a lot more than New is. So I'd rather play Enigma as a Victor than a New any day of the week. So there was that. So on and so forth. Had 1 Bravo make day 2, which is cool to see. 2 Riptides, 1 Acilio, which, oh my goodness, very similar to my last video when I was talking about the Reinhardt game. I'm not even going to say what happened. Just go to the stream on day 2 and go, I think it was day 2, and go watch the Acilio match. And you can see that game is the epitome of why people were excited to play Acilio. Now, what happened in that game happens, if I had to give an arbitrary amount, 1 in every 30 to 50 games, but when it happens, you feel like a superhero, and just go watch it. But this ended up being the top 8. We had Lucas Felice in the first seed, facing off against going off against Florian, and then we had Carlos going off against Dorinthia, Michael Hamilton and Alex, and then Florin and Eduardo. So Florin ended up taking their match against Eduardo, and I believe Alex ended up taking their match against Michael Hamilton in the rematch. We had a Dorinthia versus Aurora, which was a very contentious match. I'm not going to really talk about it. All I have to say is when you're playing in the this is a side topic. When you're playing in the reactions, I think it was this match. It might have been actually before it. But when you're playing in a match of Flesh and Blood and you play an attack reaction, if you say, do you have any reactions, you are passing priority. And if you pass priority and then your opponent does, you can't play another reaction. So if you ever play a reaction and you don't want to just like play them on top of each other, you want to see if your opponent has a defense reaction, you need to say, does this attack reaction resolve? Right? As a Arachne Marionette player, if I play Take Up the Mantle, I need to say, I don't say, do you have any reactions? That means I passed after. That means I am assuming that Mantle is resolved, and I am passing reactions to you, which is the point I don't get in our priority window. I need to play Mantle and then say, does Take Up the Mantle resolve? Okay, here's another reaction. If you do that, you did not pass priority. You're just making sure your original one resolved first. All that being said, regardless, Carlos still took it. And then I believe, I forgot who won that first match between Lucas and the Florian. But regardless, we ended up having Florian at the bottom, the second seed, make it all the way to the final. And then we had Carlos on Aurora make it to the final as well. So it was Aurora versus Enigma final, and super close game. I mean, both players played to like the last few cards in their deck. And Carlos was able to take it, winning, bringing the trophy home to Brazil. Really cool to see Brazil get their first event as well. And a lot of you could how they reacted at the end of the win is exactly how the Brazilian community is. I have decent experience with the Brazilian community from esports, working in esports. A lot of the Brazilian esports teams are just rabid fans, and I mean that like in the most loving way possible. Amazing fan base. So it was great to see them get that win. But before we move on, then we had the Battle Hardened. Now, the Battle Hardened I don't have any graphics for. I apologize for that. But Jarl did end up taking it. It was a very standard Count Your Blessings list, and I'll pull it up here in a second as I'm talking. I should have done this before. But it's a very standard Count Your Blessings list. Nothing crazy, really. As we pull it up right here. Here we go. Professional YouTubers. It's totally fine. So Jarl ended up taking it first. Very standard Count Your Blessings list. Nothing too crazy. They are running like quick dodge flexors, all the usual suspects. They had 2 pummels in the list, so on and so forth. And we had Aurora Shooting Star get second, Enigma, Dorinthia, Dash.io, Aurora, New, and Vincent. Some really notable names in there. Peter Benensek on Vincent. He also played in the Calling and did pretty well. Jacob Clements, who's top 8 just recently on New. I think Jacob and Michael are running the same list. They might have like a card or 2 different. But Brazil also ended up taking that on Jarl, which is really, really cool to see. Really excited to watch that. And then we also had the Battle Hardened Eindhoven. And this was the meta breakdown, I believe, for the Battle Hardened. Aurora, like a lot more Enigmas in this one, more Vincents, a lot less Syndra, so on and so forth. Some decent amount of Azalea, and yeah, that's how the Battle Hardened breakdown was. At the end of not day one, I guess, in a Swiss, this is what the top 8 basically looked like, I believe, if I got it right. I think there was a little bit of a mix-up, but for the most part, the big key takeaway I wanted to show was Fang was first, right? Fang was undefeated, so was Florian, and then they kind of went into the top 8 like this. This is how the graphic was. So we had a Fang face-off against Enigma. We had 2 Enigmas, a Levia, which is really cool, a Dash.io, which is crazy. Florian, Victor, Zen, and Fang. So this top 8 is just nuts, right? No Auroras. We have a Levia, a Fang, a Victor, a Dash.io, like super cool. Fang actually ended up taking this event. Fang, it was from the stream I watched. It was, if you just type in Battle Hardened Eindhoven on YouTube, you'll find it. It was just like a good stuff Fang list with dynamos. Like there wasn't, I mean, I'm sure they had like 1 or 2 like interesting cards, but for the most part, it wasn't like a spicy, crazy list. It was just, okay, I'm going to play a really good Dynamo Fang, and I'm going to win because I'm better. Like, it's basically what it was like, right? So, really cool to see that from Fang get a win. I know a lot of people have been really enjoying the hero, so on and so forth. So, we saw a Fang win, an Aurora win, and a Jarl win this weekend. Aurora is slowly getting up to that Living Legend status. I mean, if we look at the Living Legend points here while I'm talking, Aurora is already sitting at 610, and that is, they probably haven't even added in like this weekend's win. So if they didn't add, they haven't added in yet. So she is now, after winning a Calling, she's at 660 Living Legend points. She's now past Katu officially. Rest in peace. and is slowly getting up there. But yeah, if you enjoyed this type of recap, let me know. Please leave a like, comment, or subscribe down below. If not me, it's completely fine. Go to another creator. Let's leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff. I'm going to be doing an Alpha Clash unboxing for their new set Equilibrium. I'm super excited about that. Going to do that this week as well as cover some Grand Archive stuff, and then also a little bit of Flesh and Blood stuff. I have had some people ask me to do a Living Legend like Katsu or Ira list, and I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna do it because it's fun. But it's just gonna be a retrieve like Needles list. That's all it's gonna be. I think that's the best way to play those heroes in that format. So I'll definitely give that a shot for y'all. But that's where my head's at. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk.